Hi, it's Rob here with another video, and this is going to be another car boot adventure. So we're in September now, and there's not as many car boot sales, and the weather's been pretty nice over the last week. So I went to Bolton, which is a pretty big car boot sale, but you've got to get there. I got there for 7 o'clock. It's just sort of getting light at 7 o'clock, and yeah, there's a lot of people looking for vinyl, so you sort of get your own tactic when you go to a car boot sale. And my tactic is probably the same as everybody else's. I kind of walk around very quickly, and I try and walk around the whole car boot in probably sort of 20 minutes. If I see a stall that I've seen before selling vinyl, I'll go back to that. I'm looking for sort of a virgin seller, if you like, someone who's not sold at the car boot sale this year, got some records, whether they've inherited them or whatever, and hope that I'm the first person to get to them. Because if you get there at 8:30 and you look through a box and there's got some good stuff in, then think what stuff was in there 2 hours earlier. So yeah, so I got there. And when I got there, there was a guy who'd labelled up a lot of vinyl. He had about 4 boxes of records that were all £1 each, and then he'd labelled up some vinyl. Now, talking to the guy, he said, if you buy enough, then half the price of the ticket, he'll charge me half the price of the ticket. So as I was looking through, I could see quite a bit of stuff that I fancied getting. So altogether at this car boot sale, I spent 60 quid, and that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to try and go through pretty quickly. A lot of the stuff is there's quite a bit of jazz. The thing is, when I go in a record shop, I don't usually buy jazz. When I go to if I go to a car boot sale, I can't go to a car boot sale and think, I'm just going to buy a load of indie, I'm going to look for a load of Manchester music, because it's probably not going to be there. You've got to have an open mind. And I do tend to find quite a bit of jazz, 12 inches, etc. at car boot sales. So the first record, let's get cracking. With 2.5 minutes and not showing a record. Love Supreme by John Coltrane. So as you can see, the ticket price was £20, so this cost me a tenner. It's on Impulse. I think it's a really clean copy as well. So this guy has kind of inherited a collection, and he was there probably about 3 months ago, and I bought a bit of stuff off him then, but I've not actually shown that. I bought some Miles Davis and stuff, but this is me again. When I go to a car boot, I need to come home and shoot a video and show you what I've got. And if you're interested, there's some interesting stuff here. I'll try and go through the kind of heavy hitters first. That is a pretty heavy hitter, and show me where you can get Love Supreme for a tenner. It just doesn't happen, so I was pleased to find that. This is a record that I've always wanted to get, but I've kind of held out. And maybe I've held out because I thought one day I'll find it at a car boot sale. And I found Crosby, Stills and Nash Deja Vu. So he's got a tenner on there. So this cost me a £5. Obviously I've not played these records. I'm very familiar with sort of the hits of Crosby, Stills and Nash. I think I've got a greatest hit somewhere. I've got quite a bit of stuff by them, but I've never actually sat down and listened to this record, so by all accounts I'm in for a treat. So Deja Vu by Crosby, Stills and Nash, and Young. That's very important, Young. So yeah, £5. Found a Blue Note record by, I think this guy passed away this year, Wayne Shorter. So again, this one was a £5. I mean, you don't tend to pick up Blue Note records for a £5. So it's called Motto Grosso. I'm not very good at pronouncing stuff, but as you can see, he's got a tenner on there, so this one was a £5. It's in really nice condition. On the Blue Note label. I think it's from 1970. It's in quite nice shape. I don't have much by Wayne Shorter. I've got one or two things though, so that's a nice addition. So this is kind of I think this was like a budget range that came out maybe in the 80s. I think it was Italian. So it's kind of I don't know whether it was like a kind of a magazine that came out every month or every week, sort of jazz related. Archie Shepp. So this is £3. It cost me £1.50. So you get like a bit of a sort of story in the start, a little bit about Archie Shepp. So Archie Shepp records tend to be quite pricey. I've got one or two in my collection. So it's on that label. So I think this is kind of a series that came out in the 80s. I have seen these records before. They don't tend to be that expensive, but I'm not sure I've seen one for £1.50. I do like Nina Simone. I've got a little bit of Nina Simone, but if I see records by Nina Simone, I tend to pick them up if they're, so it's £7.50 this one, and it's a double live in Europe, bit of ring wear. There's the label. So as I said, when you go to car boots, part of the joy is you just never know what you're going to find. Sometimes you're disappointed, but then other times, if you're there at the right time, if you get there early enough. I don't like to say that you're lucky because, you know, you've made the effort, you got out of bed. You know, I heard a few people say they can't be bothered getting out of bed and going to car boot sales. Well, you know, you go to record shops and pay 3 times the price. So, yeah, Nina Simone live in Europe. This was a bit of a gamble. I think maybe it didn't pay off. This cost me a £5, so I thought it looked interesting. I've not played it, but I've just read a few reviews about it. So I think it's called the Sorcerer. Another name that I can't pronounce. It's mono from 68, I think. I think it might have been recorded in 67, it says, in Boston. Just thought it might be interesting. As I say, I've not played it, so it's another one on impulse. So this is Roy Harper. This was £2.50. So Roy Harper's someone who've been looking to get some records by, but I don't tend to see them cheap. So when I saw this, I thought, yeah, I'll take a chance. Back to Reality. Not sure what label it is. Oh, it's on Harvest. So, yeah, 1970 to 75. So maybe it's some kind of best of. I think Rob Ison is a big fan of Roy Harper, so maybe you can tell me. But looking at that, it's probably some sort of a best of. I thought this was a nice find for £2.50. The Maravishie Orchestra with John McLaughlin, the Inner Mounting Flame. So there's a lot of people, not a lot of people, a few people whose videos I watch on YouTube who wax lyrically about the Maravishie Orchestra. Sort of jazz fusion. I've always sort of steered clear, but I was tempted for £2.50. The covers needs gluing, but it's on CBS. That's kind of an original CBS sleeve. Another John Coltrane, live at the Village Vanguard. So as you can see, that's only cost me £5. This one's on a gatefold. It's going to take me a while to get through these, so in the comments, if you're familiar with any of these records, then I'd appreciate people's feedback. Have I got a good deal? I think I've not done too bad. So we had boxes of records that were £1, and he had this for £1. Most of there were a lot of country in there and sort of Oscar Peterson and stuff like that. But another Maharishi Orchestra, Inner Words. Again, it's on CBS, looks a little bit later. A bit of damage to the sleeve, but yeah, for £1. So that's all from that one guy. So when I was running around early doors, there was a guy selling records who I'd not seen before, and again he said everything was half price, so we had £15 on this record. It was sort of one that sort of sparked my interest. So it's Gil Evans and a guy called Tad Dameroon, is it? The arranger's Touch. So Gil Evans I'm kind of aware of, but this is a little bit of a blind buy really. I'm not too sure what I'm getting into. It's on Prestige. This guy was a guy he was probably in his maybe early 70s, and he said he was moving house and he needed to slim down his record collection. That's the sort of person you want to sort of buy from at a car boot sale. So yeah, £7.50 for that one. And then he had boxes of records that were £2 each. So Getting Together, Art Pepper. Thought this was quite a nice find. Some kind of repress. I think this is originally from 1960. But yeah, bit of Art Pepper. And a bit of soul for a couple of quid. The best of Wilson Pickett. So this has got Land of a Thousand Dances, Hey Joe, Mustang Sally, In the Midnight Hour, Hey Jude. So it's on Atlantic for £2. Nice pickup. Classic car boot sale find. Then there was a guy who was selling 12 inches for £1. So I picked up Robert Miles' Freedom. So a lot of people know Robert Miles from the track Children. Passed away a couple of years ago. I'm sure when I play this I'll know the track. So I thought I'd pick that up. A battered copy of the Prodigy. This one's called Fire Jericho. A little bit battered, but vinyl looks okay. Another nice find for £1, Depeche Mode. So this is I Feel Loved. So there's a couple of different mixes on this. It's in really nice condition. So Depeche Mode for £1. From the is it Exciter album? So, and also this album by the Primitives was £1. So there was a box with mostly 12 inches, but there was some albums in there. So I don't have anything by the Primitives. This is from the late 80s, I think. I think the singer's called Tracy. I think Martin the Vinyl Scavengers, a bit of a fan. Kind of same as sort of Transition Vamp. There's the label. So, but for £1, I'll check it out. And finally, oh no, I've got a couple more things. So Macy Gray. So I really like that album by Macy Gray. And there's a few mixes of the track Why Didn't You Call Me, live at Wembley Arena, Black Eyed Peas mix, and an 88 keys mix. So Macy Gray. And just a couple more things. So when I was running round at the start of the car boot, there was a random box of singles, and I just had a quick look and I saw this one. So it's Electricity, and I was trying to look disinterested and asking how much the singles were, and they were 50p. So I think that's it's one I've never had this single. So it's on din disc, but it looks like factory, but that's a nice find. And just finish it off with a CD, Afrobeat Nigeria Special. This was £1. So I still buy CDs if I see something interesting. Then I'll always pick it up. So if you've got any comments about what I've picked up, like I say, when you go to car boot sales, you can't have like a list. Like I go to a lot of record shops. I need to do videos of what I pick up, because if I go in a record shop, I tend to pick up sort of indie and dance music. But when you go to a car boot sale, you can't have sort of any restrictions. You just got to go with the flow, and picked up quite a lot of jazz that way over the last couple of years. So if you've got any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.